Welcome back to your creativity, everybody. The Clerk's 30th anniversary tour continues, I guess. We are broadcasting to the East Coast again. Well, not technically broadcasting, but connecting with the East Coast again. With Rick Darris himself, Ernie O'Donnell. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me back, man. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Always cool.
And joining us.
Thanks for representing the. Sorry, I gotta acknowledge the black and white.
I'm in black and white, and I'm wearing my Jay and Silent Bob Goodall shirt. So
thank you.
I gotta represent properly. And my co-host for today is also representing. She's got a Good Will Hunting poster behind her in German.
I couldn't really get it in Boston, I don't know that people would be able to read that on a poster. I don't know what that would look like verbally on a poster, but I think you get the gist.
Yeah. It's funny with that poster, means a lot to Kevin, but people seem to forget that he was the catalyst for getting that thing made.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, I mean, they basically came to him. Ben came to him first about it.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I knew everything about that film, and I learned something new today already.
Yeah, if you read into it, Kevin is the one who kind of planted the seed for that movie and got it into shifted it to Gus Van Sant. But yeah,
I knew I liked that guy. I knew I liked him.
Yeah. It's a good one. I think he may be credited as some sort of producer on it, or I forget the actual title they gave him, but we do have it hanging in the theater, and we also just auctioned off a Good Will Hunting Carhartt crew jacket a couple weeks ago.
I would have put in a bid for that.
It went for a nice chunk of change, I'll say that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I would have tried, but I probably wouldn't have gotten it.
Well, Ernie, let's catch up. Last time we talked, it was over 4 years ago. It was like April of 2020. So, yeah, just we're into COVID a little bit, thinking it wouldn't last very long. The Smod Castle was going to open in June, but it ended up being. So catch us up a little bit on the Smod Castle. How long was it open, and the transition into the theater?
So basically, while COVID was going on, I was building the Smod Castle. I was working all by myself. I travel from my house, which is literally 10 minutes away, to that location at 64 Leonard Avenue, right next to the Quick Stop. So I'd go there every single day and do that. And finally, when we were allowed to open, we had a bunch of shows. We had a nice run, I have to say, for a good year or so. But then the opportunity came I found out that the Atlantic Movie House was for sale, which used to be called Atlantic Cinema, which is where me and Kevin grew up. And that's the theater that we went to. And Kevin was trying to broker a deal to buy the Quick Stop at the same time. But that deal fell through. So him and one of our partners, Ashley, had some extra cash laying around. That deal fell through. So I found out through my buddy Jeff, who's now one of our partners in the theater, that it was going up for sale again. So then I proposed to Kevin. I said, hey, what do you think about buying the movie theater with the money that you're going to invest in Quick Stop, since that fell through? So we made some phone calls, had some meetings, brought Ashley in, Jeff, myself, and Kevin, and pretty much bought our childhood movie theater. And once we bought that, a few months later, we decided to close the small Smod Castle in Leonardo, which is basically a 50-seater, and upgrade it to a 5-screen, 5-theater. Pretty much, it was way more. I have to say this: me and Kevin went in with our eyes open, right, thinking this was the greatest thing in the world. Buying our movie house theater that we grew up in and did some really crazy stuff in as a kid. and then come to realize that, on the back end, the movie business was in the toilet, as he's been saying a lot lately. But we put on a lot of cool programming there, and it's been a lot of fun. I got to say that. But I never expected the transition at this point in my life to be owning a movie theater and operating a movie theater. It's pretty surreal, to be honest.
Yeah, when at first like hit you all the responsibility and like the stuff, how did that affect you?
The responsibility of running the movie theater.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, well, of course, he said, you're an owner, but you're also going to be the head operator. So I oversee all the bookings and the events and the employees and anything that went with it, uh, handling and taking care of the maintenance, uh, the ordering of the concessions, the merchandise, you name it, the websites. Then I decided to start a film festival, which was nuts, but uh, but it was just so much fun, and we were so enthused to bring all this stuff to our fans and our programming that basically I just said fuck it. I said let's have some fun, and you know I don't mind the hard work. I just didn't realize how much work was involved in running a movie theater. So thank God for my partners, Ashley and Jeff um, and Kevin. Without Kevin coming and doing what he does every month, basically doing shows, it'd really be tough for a movie theater to survive. As you all know, movie theaters are dying across the country, uh, especially the small theaters like ours. So without the variety of programming that we do, it'd be very hard to survive. It's gotten to a point where uh, we're at the process now of really considering going nonprofit. It just
Mm.
it's something that, in order to keep the theater going, it's something I think we're probably going to wind up doing. We've looked into it for the last couple of months. We're figuring out the logistics if we can do it. And it's we don't want it to go anywhere. Theater's been there for over 100 years. And
Yeah.
I came to find out through one of my guys, Steven, who's one of my technical projector gurus there, uh, which is a small fact, but to me it's kind of cool, is that we're one of the few theaters in the area or even on the East Coast that has operating curtains, which it sounds silly, right? The curtains that open
Yeah.
and close on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what's the big deal? But he's like, oh, because he works at tons of theaters on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're like one of the only ones that still operate curtains. And I was like, wow. I said, that's
Huh.
pretty cool.
That is cool. That is
Yeah, it's
cool.
it's it's to most people it's not a big deal, but
For
when you think
somebody
about
that
it,
spends so many hours in a theater every year, I like the little details. And I
yeah,
also want to
right.
know, when you first bought the theater and you walked in there, how sticky were the floors? Because I remember my childhood theater, right? That we'd go to in like junior high and high school,
Right.
and we'd go and it's like in the mall and it's like $1 for the movie. And we go in and it's just like you're sticking, like
Uh,
and we look forward to it, right? And then we'd walk out into the mall into the like arcade area and we'd see how long the
your feet.
stick left on your Vans, right? So
Yeah.
how sticky was that floor?
It it is a constant battle. It really is. And there's no way you can stop it. I mean, as much as kids are part of our business, they
Mhm.
they are the worst as far as, spilling drinks and everything on the floor and dropping candy, and then the candy disintegrates, when the soda hits it and it gets, I mean, you can mop it all day and it's not going to get rid of it. You literally have to like steam the floors, the
Oh my
concrete
gosh.
floors, to get that stickiness out. And then some people just paint over it.
That's
It's
probably
just
what this theater did. I don't think they ever cleaned it. I just think once a
they
year
kept
they
painting it.
painted over it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a cleaning service that comes in every week to they do the basic cleaning of the theater. And I spoke to her the other day. I said, I need you to come in for hours and just really scrub the floors. I said, it's just such a battle. And even the carpets that we have there, their carpets have been there for probably 20 years, and they need a good steam cleaning. But they're just this, it's
Yeah.
it's a battle.
But I feel like it almost adds to the thing that we love so much
The charm of
about
it, yes.
going to an old school theater. Like sometimes I think these new school theaters, they're almost too clean. Like I don't want to feel like I'm going into my doctor's office, right?
That's
I
right.
want to feel like I can get comfy and like nobody's watching me. I can just be myself. I can yell at the screen if I want to. I can laugh, I can cry. And you get in
Yes,
there with all these fancy D box. I won't even get into the weirdness of the name of a D box seat.
right.
But it's like too much. I don't need my seat to move for me. I don't need you to tell me when to laugh. Like I just want to have the old school experience with the half burnt popcorn, the sticky floors, the seats that you shouldn't touch with your actual skin
Right.
because the things that could be on those seats,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Well, we have this argument all the time. It's not an argument, but it's an ongoing discussion. Well, first I will say we have the best popcorn on the East Coast,
Mm.
hands down, and we don't burn it. Uh, People love our popcorn because we do you know have some good stuff. But what I will say is it's this constant battle of our seats. Now our seats are the original seats. They're uncomfortable, but comfortable enough to spend 2 hours, maybe 3 hours in. But after that, it gets to be a little much. But half of our audience is always asked us, "Hey, when are you going to change it and upgrade the seats?" And then the other half is like, "Well, don't do that. These seats are great because I don't fall asleep in them. I don't get, too comfortable. I mean, it's just enough for me to watch a movie and engage, and then I get out of there." So when we have our overnight, we just had clerks up all night, where it lasted from 10 p.m. at night till 8 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we ran three Clerks movies in a row with Q&As in between, and we had an auction. It was great, but these guys are in those seats for all those hours, and they're true diehard fans, and thank God for them. But yeah, it's that battle of, do we change the seats? I mean, every week I'm in there fixing them. A bolt falls out, I got to fix it,
Yeah.
and I brought my brother-in-law in there 2 weeks ago to see, no, 3 weeks ago to see Godzilla. And he's like, "All right, I'm going to come in." So yeah, it was a great movie.
Oh, so
So
good.
I brought him in, and he takes his jacket off, and he just literally plops down into the seat. Doesn't, grab the arms and go down. He plops into it, and the seat just, the whole back blows out. And I'm like, you just broke my seat. He goes, "I'm going to sue you." I was like, "Sue me?" I was like, "You're not even here, really." I was like, "I've opened the theater up for you privately." So he wouldn't get out of the seat. He just laid back in it and did the whole thing. He's like this, watching the movie. The next day he calls me and he goes, "I had to go to my chiropractor. I'm giving you the bill. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, breaking my balls." I mean, he was only joking, but it's,
I would have told him to fix the seat. Like you broke it. Here's the tools. Like
yeah,
fix it up. And I
I
have an
was
opinion
there.
about that. Like anytime I go to Boston, I am going to Fenway. And the best thing about Fenway, other than watching the game at Fenway, is that it's the original seats,
Yeah,
right? You're sitting there and you're going to be a little uncomfortable, but you're going to stand up a few times. You're going to go get the hot dog. But I don't know that I would love, I mean, I'd still love Fenway, but it gives the charm of the things that we love about that time. And
right,
cinema has been around for such a long time. And I am not saying that I don't love me a good theater seat where I can sit back when I know I have to do so many screenings. But unless you're
right,
going to a Snyder cut of a film, you shouldn't be in that theater for more than 3 hours if you're watching a movie. Now, if you're doing a marathon, that's different. But even at Sundance, I was just at Sundance Film Festival, and all of the theaters are old and they all have the original seats. And you know that that town brings in all that money, and they have not once changed the seats in those theaters.
right.
So,
Well, that's good to know because we are. It's an ongoing battle, like I said, to change them, and you know, it's a costly thing to do. It's
mhm.
not cheap. I mean, you got to rip every seat out, got to fix the floor, then you got to either resurface or paint the floor, and then you got to reset all new seats, and that's a task. And with the way things are going with theaters nowadays, putting out $150,000 for new seats is, it's a lot. So
Time to buy 5 theaters.
yeah, right, times 5. So you do one when you can, but yeah, I mean, I love it. Most people love it, so, and they do. The charm of the place is what really intrigues people when they come in. And now we have posters all over the place and artwork from Kevin from his private collection. It's, every movie. It's just, it's fun. It's turning into a small little museum of sorts when people come in. We have murals on the wall. It's called Hollywood's to Highlands to Hollywood's our mural. But Kevin grew up in Highlands, and then it wraps around the lobby. This mural, it shows all the View Askew characters that have been in a bunch of his movies, and then it wraps around and goes into all the Hollywood people that are from Jersey. Like a lot of the A-listers and stuff. So the people love it. I mean, it's good stuff. I'm torn to upgrade the theater. I really am. I'm really torn, but we'll see.
Was it in operation when you took over it, or was it been closed for a while?
So it was closed for, I guess, almost a year when the previous owner, Fred Rass, owned it. And then it got reopened by Tony Zertucci, and he renamed it Atlantic Movie House. And he had it open for about a year and a half. And then that's when we heard it was up for a sale again. Fred was thinking about selling it. And then we brought Tony in as one of our partners in the cinema. Now we bought the real estate. We bought everything. We bought the theater real estate and the building next to it because Fred Rass owned both of them. But we brought Tony in since he pretty much brought the theater back at that point to be partners in Smodcastle Cinemas. So he was having some tough times from talking to him, keeping the theater going. It's just, again, if you take Kevin out of the equation, it's a struggle. And I totally get it with other theaters, and I feel for them because I've talked to some of the other theater owners in Jersey, and every day is a battle. And the movies out right now, I mean, as we know, are horrible. There's nothing. It's just like I got one movie coming out this week that I'm like, hey, a new movie, Argyle. It's at Argyle, and it's
Argyle, opens this week.
Right. And that's pretty much it. Because you have to hit your demographic in your area.
In your area, yeah.
Right.
What was the first movie that you played coming back? Like, what did you open up with?
Oh, geez, that's a good one. Oh, Top Gun was still.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Top Gun
That
Maverick
movie, that movie right there is exactly why cinema needs to exist, right?
Oh, God, yes.
That is a movie that if you did not see it in the theater when it came out, you missed out. This was everybody's like, why do we still need movie theaters? And when this movie came out, I did a lot of reviews and podcasts about this is why. Yes, you can stream on your phone, you can stream on, your television, you can stream on your computer. But if you don't see certain movies, Godzilla, Top Gun Maverick, there are so many movies that have come out since the pandemic that if you don't see them in the theater, you're missing out because they are made for that experience. Across the Spider-Verse, could you imagine watching that like on your just streaming? That is stupid. It's the stupidest thing in the world. Like the people that had the balls to make Across the Spider-Verse with all those different mediums, and they thought we were smart enough to understand it. If you're watching it on your phone or even your computer, and I've got a big computer, but you just would not get it. So that's why, like your theater, it's so important because it's just you need to people need to go to theater. I went during the pandemic to whatever theater was open. I usually was the only person in it. But I saw Godzilla versus Kong. And like
Oh,
I was in there with
loved
my
it.
husband and we are like cheering and laughing and just and that is like a theater experience movie, right?
Yeah, there's nothing like it. And you know what it does? Uh, it actually it calls people out because everybody's like, "Hey, I love movies. I'm a movie goer. I'm this. I love the all this kind of crap." And I see all these movies, and yeah, okay, but do you see it in the movie theater?
Hmm.
Because if you're a true movie goer and you love the film experience and you really want to get, lost in the fantasy of a film, you have to see it in a theater. It's just
Hmm.
there's no other way to experience. I mean, I have an 85-inch TV surround sound in my room, and it sounds amazing, looks amazing, but it does not compare to when I'm watching something in the theater. It really doesn't.
And there's a camaraderie, like certain movies like Endgame. I remember going to the first screening, like the first pre-screening of Endgame, and
Right.
we filled the theater with other film critics and with fans that won tickets, on my radio station or podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
And the moments, I think we all remember the moments if you've seen Endgame where you're cheering as soon as Cap, right? As soon as he picks up Thor's hammer, and I'm
Yeah.
out of my seat.
I
We've
know,
been
right?
waiting for this moment
I
like our
know.
whole nerdy lives, right? And then when Tony gets told like he can rest now, and we're all bawling, we're
Oh
adults
my
just
God.
bawling our eyes out, and we're doing it with a community of people that love what we love. So it's not only like sitting at home and watching this movie and being like, oh, this is rad. I'm so glad that all my nerdy dreams have come true on screen. It's being in a crowd of people. Like when I rented out a theater when Force Awakens came out, because it was Star Wars is back. And
Mm.
I filled, that 2,500 seat theater, and I had cosplayers and I had, you know,
Wow.
I had the setups out front and gave away prizes, and we're all sitting in that theater together, having this experience and with my kid. And when I went and saw it 2 weeks earlier with 8 film critics in a 2,500 seat theater, I actually hated the film. Like I
Oh,
didn't,
really? Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I love this. No, none of the critics were saying anything. There was no emotion. And then when I'm watching it again with 2,500 people and they're cheering and crying and clapping, I'm like, okay, I actually do like this film. This film's pretty good, So I just think there's something you get out of going to the theater that you're
Most
just never
definitely.
gonna get at home. You're never gonna get it
Never,
at home.
never. So what we do at Smart Castle, and this isn't with every film. So we do a lot of rep house movies also. So we'll pick a movie, uh, and Kevin will host it. So basically, he'll do an intro, and then he'll talk about it after. So before the movie, he'll tell the audience. He's like, "Listen, here at Smart Castle, we encourage involvement in the movie. So when you see your favorite actor, you see your favorite character, please scream, yell, engage, and it's you. I stand in the back with him as this is going on, and you just watch the audience just let loose, be themselves. Nobody there judging them and engaging with the other fans and having a great time. It's just that's what it's all about. And these are old movies. These aren't just the new ones that everybody's excited for that come out. I mean, even though most of them nowadays, shit the bed when they come out, unfortunately. But it's, I mean, yeah, I mean, God help us, Aquaman 2, the worst. But
Oh man. Oh man.
yes, yeah,
I had to
but
watch Rebel. I had to watch Rebel Moon in the theater. So the same week
uh,
I watched Aquaman. The next day I watched Rebel Moon, and I really thought I was done being a film. Like
yeah, it's
I'm
just
like my hat's down. Like oh,
right.
this is my Boston. I didn't even realize this is my Boston hat right
Uh,
here, right next to me.
that's
I'm
okay.
all about Boston, even though I'm in Utah. So
Yeah, well, you see the Yankees. See it.
Yeah. Oh, my first time at Fenway 2 years ago, my first game, and I watched Boston play the Yankees. That was my first game. at Fenway.
Okay.
And I was just
Okay.
like, I don't need to see any other baseball game. I think I'm good. I mean, I
You're
have,
good.
but like I think I'm
Right.
good. I'm watching the two, anyway,
The two big ones. Yep. It's
yeah,
awesome.
at Fenway. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so I mean, the whole movie experience is just amazing and magical if you go to a theater. There's nothing like it. I don't care what anybody says. And it's not about the seats. It's not about the, all these gadgets that they give you or the food or it's the camaraderie between the people and experience it with your friends or your family or whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, we have birthday parties in the theater too. We rent the theater out for private parties, and you get 40, 50, 60 kids in a movie watching something, and it's crazy. They love it. They have the greatest time. They have their cake in there, they have pizza in there. It's there's nothing like it. I mean, I just I just wish people would get out of their house and experience what should be experienced, and that's being in a real cinema. I mean, I'm not just saying my cinema, but anyone. You know, if you want it to stick around, you want that medium to stick around and have that experience, you got to get out and go check it out.
So she mentioned Endgame. You had the Rizzo brothers watching the
Oh
Infinity
yeah,
War, and tell us a little bit about that.
yeah. So he's friendly with the Russo brothers. So when we took the theater over, he gave me a list of people. He's like, I'm going to go after this one. I'm going to go after that one. Zack Snyder is on the list and still is on the list. And then he said the Russo brothers, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like, come on, the Russo brothers. And it took a year, but we got them, and they came to
Nice.
the theater, and the nicest guys you could imagine. I mean, sweethearts. I mean, these guys are bazillionaires, right? And they were so down to earth, the sweetest. They came in. Uh, there was people in front of the theater waiting for them. They signed autographs, and I brought them up to the apartment. I made them tea, made the Russo brothers tea. And they sat down and we bullshitted for a while, and then they went and did 2 hours and 15 minutes on stage with Kevin. And to keep Kevin from not talking is a hard task. And I'll tell you what, he was a master at asking questions, the right questions, because he's a huge, he's a huge fan. He's a geek, as we all know. He knows all the folklore and all the backstories of all these movies and the characters. So he asked the right questions, and they engaged with him. And there was a moment during the interview where I think it was Anthony said, he's like, yeah, Kev, he's like, I just want to tell you, he's like, you're one of the best interviewers. And he goes, but to be honest, I could sit here and listen to you talk for hours. Meaning let Kevin just talk, because he's just, you can, the passion that comes out of him for, these movies is just, it's real. It's not fabricated. It's not something he read in a book or I mean, it's really coming from his heart. And he just, he lives and breathes this industry when it comes to that. And that's what made these guys open up and be so friendly and engaging with us. And they had a wonderful time, and the audience loved it. We didn't even get to Q&As, and the audience didn't even care. They just wanted to hear what these guys had to say. And Kevin asked the right questions. He asked the questions that he knew that the audience wanted to hear, being obviously respectful of certain things. He even brought up the what was it? They had an issue with Scorsese at that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Scorsese basically came out and,
Right.
it bashed
Right.
superhero films.
Yeah. And
A-
I think
and
it was Joe or something.
I have issues with Scorsese right now, so it's fine. It goes
Well,
back and
yeah.
forth.
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, that was he addressed that very nicely in the interview, and it was perfectly done. They signed a whole bunch of like posters for us that we could auction off and for the theater, which is extremely nice. But they said they would come back, and they will. They'll come back. Yeah, yeah. But Zach's the next one, on the list to get him. And
It's gonna be a 6 hour like event. You know that, right? And then there's gonna be a
that's
special cut
fine.
later. There'll be
That's
a special
fine.
cut later that you guys like stream because
No
he won't be
problem.
done.
Got no problem with that because those fans will come and do it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Snyder fans are like gung ho, so you won't have an issue at all.
yeah. I mean, and we're trying. Kevin's got Reitman on his list too.
Oh
Like,
wow.
oh yeah, yeah. He's another one that we're waiting scheduling wise to get
Nice.
there.
What's your next one? Do you have your next one lined up so I can put it on my
Uh,
calendar and fly out there?
yeah. Well, we got. I mean,
Lance
the
Volkerson.
yeah. Well, Volgerthon sold out already. We
Oh
didn't even.
wow.
Kevin didn't even. Yeah, he didn't even push it. We just put a couple things on Facebook, and he didn't do a video or really push it hard, and it sold out. So we just added a second show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's August 3rd. That's way far out, but that's great. I mean, it's amazing. But
Yeah.
coming up, uh, Kevin's got a busy month in February in Los Angeles, and he's got a lot of things going on. He's got the cruise, the View Askew cruise he's doing. Uh, so he'll be back in town for March. So on March 2nd, we're doing a benefit with a Artists for Action and Angels Play, two foundations about uh, gun violence in America and the Sandy Hook shootings and all. It's a really deep, emotional documentary that's coming to the film that we're going to show on that Saturday night. We're going to do a huge benefit, things like that for them in the theater. So that's going to be really great, and Kevin's part of that. Then after that, we got Mark Bernardin's coming back to town to do Fat Man Beyond with Kevin on March 15th. And we usually sell that out. That just went up today. And he'll stay for the whole weekend, and we'll show two of his favorite films. We're showing Blade with Wesley Snipes
Nice.
the next day, yeah, and then we're showing one of his others, Doomsday, the
Oh my
2008
gosh,
version, Doomsday.
I haven't thought of Doomsday forever. Now
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
yeah. So we're doing that, and then we've been leaning into the Rep House stuff. Like this week, we got Stripes coming up. And then we go into after Stripes, we got Any Given Sunday for the Super Bowl week. And then we go into When Harry Met Sally for Valentine's. So every week it'll be something different. We'll have a Rep House movie every week because people seem to love it. And our first one was The Thing with Kurt
Oh,
Russell.
nice. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it was a great turnout. It's amazing. We just did Spaceballs 2 weeks ago. We did a one night showing of Spaceballs, had 116 people showed up, or 160, I should say. It's crazy for Spaceballs.
Yeah, people love Spaceballs. Like
Yeah.
it's time. My daughter is 22 and I think it was like 3 years ago. She's like, Mom, have you seen this movie Spaceballs? And I'm like, oh, I'm a bad parent. Did I not show that to you? Like, did I not introduce that to you?
Well, that's
Um,
that's the that's the thing. It's doing these old Rep House movies
mhm.
allows our generation to bring, the kids to see it. I mean, the parents get as much joy out of it as the kid does,
Yeah.
introducing them to this stuff.
Yeah, I
It's real.
remember going to the theater like right as theaters were opening up again, and our local theater was showing Back to the Future, which when I was
Nice.
little, I didn't get to see it in the theater, right? I had like the bootleg, my mom recorded it off of TV version. And so half of the movie I was like, oh, that's new. But there's just something about seeing the movies that we love from like when we were kids in the theater. And when he turns on the speaker at the beginning of the film, like that's not what I experienced at home, right? That's
Right.
like a big theater like moment. It was so
Yeah.
cool. I love that you guys do that. Like Any Given Sunday in a theater, like
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Well,
Yes.
I was trying to pick I'm like, what's a good football movie that guys, I hate to say just guys, but
Yeah.
but who would dig it? And I was like, it's that, or it's
The
Invincible, Mark
Replacements.
Wahlberg, the Replacements, uh, The Longest Yard. I was thinking of the Burt Reynolds version, to be honest. But Any Given Sunday by Oliver Stone has some really, really true football scenes in it, which is amazing.
Yeah. The
Uh, he,
editing of that movie just like
yeah,
tight across, it's so good.
it's so good, and I think it'll get people excited for the Super Bowl and stuff like that. So we'll see how it does. But it depends. It's weird. The studios, you think those movies they would just give to you? We still have
No.
to pay. No, we still have to pay
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
You got to
yeah.
pay. What is it? Like between 400 and $1,000 for each
So
showing, I think.
so it depends. Like a Rep House
Yeah.
movie could range from $100 to $300 just
Mm,
to have it. Plus, they get their 35%. The new movies range from $250 to $2,000
yeah.
to get, and then they get up to 50-60%.
It's crazy.
That's why all these movie theaters have to charge an arm and a leg for water and popcorn, because
Yeah.
you're only getting 30-40% of your ticket price. I mean, you factor all that stuff in that the studio takes, it's amazing.
Maybe you need to do, just because of this Super Bowl, you need to do the T Swift movie along with Any Given Sunday to make sure you
uh,
get that crossover.
I hate to say it, but I think the football nation is tired of T Swift.
But their girlfriends aren't, and their daughters aren't.
Oh
And
man.
I'm not.
He's
You're
not.
not? Oh
No, I'm a
man.
Swiftie. I went to that movie on opening night. It was so crazy. Kids running around everywhere. The dad yelled, "It's okay for dads to be Swifties." It was
It
lots
Yeah.
of
is.
fun.
You're right.
It was
It
a lot
is.
of
It
fun.
is.
No, we did okay with Taylor Swift. We also, for her movie, she's the one of the few movies where we got the Taylor Swift buckets for popcorn and
Oh,
drinks
nice.
that the kids could buy and stuff like that. But we had a good amount of private parties for Taylor Swift, which was
Mm.
nice, where you get 20, 30 teenage girls renting the theater out by themselves with their parent to watch this, dancing in you know, the aisles in front of the screen. They were loving it. Yeah.
That's
But,
what a theater can do. That's what a theater can do.
yes, yes. I mean, I'll give her a lot of credit. She's a marketing genius.
Oh
She's,
yeah. When I worked in
yeah.
radio, she would send us personalized items every like quarter,
Oh, wow.
and it'd have our names on it, like, hey, thanks Val and Mike for playing my song. Here's some
Wow.
shirts. It's like a signed card. Like she knows what she's doing. And I have to give props to her on that because yeah, I mean, whether it was her signing it or not, it made me feel special every time I got it.
Well, her 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 contract that she sent to me was, I thought I had to have a lawyer look at it. It was like crazy.
It's
I
like
mean, to
from
show
Disney.
her film. I mean, there were so many stipulations and rules, and if you do this, you're going to get that, you're going to get fined, and we're going to do this to you. I mean, it was like signing my life away to get this film. It was crazy, but it was
Wow.
worth it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's a good
Do you
one.
have anything you're looking forward to this year? I know you said most everything that's coming out was crap, but
Oh,
are you looking like, how about Deadpool, the new Deadpool movie? You looking forward to
I
that?
mean, yeah,
We get them both back on the screen. We
I
get
love it.
Wolverine and Deadpool.
As long as they don't keep push, as long as they don't push it, because they pushed a lot of films lately. But yeah, that's yeah, Deadpool's a yeah, but that's sad. I mean, you could think of one. Oh, what movie do you really want to see? Oh, I want to see Deadpool. I mean, what else is there? I mean,
I mean, there's a
I mean,
lot, but I was just thinking that one seems like the most fun.
right.
But
I mean, I got Madam Web coming out.
ugh.
I mean, it's
I'm sorry, I am not looking forward to that at all. And Spider-Man is my favorite.
nice. Look at
But
that.
if you can't even call Spider-Man by his name in the movie because you don't have the rights, don't make the movie.
Right, right. Yeah.
Anyways, I could go. That's a whole different show, but
I mean, I don't know how good it's gonna be, but I was a huge fan of the Fall Guy.
mm,
So I'd love to see what Ryan Gosling's going to do with it. You know, that's
Yeah,
kind of one I'm kind of excited
yeah,
to see. Uh, I'm anxious to see, you know, what's it, the Kong and Godzilla, the
yes.
new one. You know,
Yeah,
I'm curious
X.
to see what
Yeah.
they do. Yeah, X, because I watched what is it, the one Monarch. I watched
Monarch is
Yes,
so
Monarch on
good.
Apple,
yes.
right? So it was very good. I love
Well, I
Kurt
think
Russell.
because there's a lot of holes in the schedule, right? Because there wasn't a lot of movies that were made last year. You have all these film festivals that now the studios are going into, like Sundance and to South by Southwest and all these things, and they're buying these movies out that are going to fill in all of these places. And I have to tell you guys right now, as soon as the Christopher Reeves documentary comes out, like just
Yeah,
just be prepared to bawl your eyes out.
you saw it.
And
Is that good?
you just, yes, you just need to do a Superman marathon, and then the next day you play that documentary. Oh my gosh, like I did not think, I knew I was going to be like in the moment because I watched Superman, all of them, like over and over and over
Oh
as a
yeah,
kid, right? And everybody, no matter whether you like the movies or not, you knew Christopher Reeve and he looked like a superhero. And
yeah,
They have, Robin Williams, like clips of him in the movie, and because they were best friends. And
yeah. They were friends. Yeah.
but it goes through every single bit of his life, good, bad. um and it Yeah. And then his kids got up after the film
Oh, they
and
were there.
spoke. I was sitting next to his kid's grandpa, and I did not know that. He's this
Wow.
British guy sitting next to me, and I'm a film critic, and it's this huge theater during Sundance. And I'm just trying to, like, I'm just gonna let these tears dry. I'm not gonna let anybody know. So before the lights come up, I'm like, okay, let me. And he leans over and he's like, so what did you think? And I'm like, it was beautiful. And he had a British accent. And I'm like, oh, did you have something to do with the film? And he's like, I'm family. And then they call the kids up and they all get out of the rows right next to me and walk
Oh,
up. And
wow.
I'm like, yeah, that
You're
it's,
surrounded.
if that is one that, yeah, you could stream it and it would be fine. But being in the theater and just feeling all the feelings in that setting, just be my Italian for a minute, but
Nice. So, did they? Who's the studio that's behind it?
I don't remember them saying who picked it up yet. I'm just getting all of the kind of studio emails now that they can
Okay.
start announcing things. I probably have an email, but I haven't seen them, so I just got back from Texas today. But yeah, but it
I'd
should
be
be, it should
curious.
be out this week. It should be out this week. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean,
Yep.
we want Superman's on. He's on my one and two are on the list to
Mhm.
show. I'm not sure about three yet, but one and
What
two
about
definitely.
four?
He did not want to make four. I got to tell you that right now.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
still
one
watched
is,
four as a kid.
yeah, I watched them all. It's just, I
Yeah.
mean, one is just amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's just so good. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Henry Cavill, but
Yeah.
there's nothing like Christopher Reeve. Kids don't
Well, and I like
appreciate it.
how he didn't try to be Christopher Reeve. Like you see a lot of
Right.
these remakes or reimagined or reboot or whatever the heck you want to call it, and they try to, some of them try too much to be like something else, but Henry brought his own thing to it, which I respected for sure.
Oh yeah, he's amazing in it, and it's a shame that we may never ever see him again uh, as
As
Superman. But
Superman, we're definitely going to see him next week in the theater already, so.
yes, yes, and the whispers of he keeps denying it, but I mean, I could see him as the new James Bond, but I don't know what they're going to do with that franchise. I mean, I love James Bond too, so
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
just
I did a marathon of James Bond with my dad. That's like his favorite movie series. And I think either Henry Cavill or Idris Elba would be fine with me.
yeah, it just is. He's guy's got so much swagger, it's ridiculous. It's just he really does. I mean, he's just he's so cool in everything he does, which is awesome. But we'll see. I mean, hopefully they
Yeah.
don't ruin that franchise. I mean, movie studios are notorious for ruining shit. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
But
they're
that was
killing them
another
all.
scene. That was another movie, the finale of, the last I don't know, would you type of Bond movies because it went with that stretch, but the scene that he kind of says goodbye at the top of the building, his like
Oh,
send-off scene from the
yeah,
last James Bond movie, like that was his moment. And
yep.
watching that on your phone, like
Oh,
in
no.
the theater, you're like,
Yes, go to the movies,
yes.
people, please. You
Buy
don't
a
know what you're
ticket.
missing.
Buy five tickets.
Yes, buy 5 tickets, but please buy popcorn and candy because that's where I make my money. I don't, crazy, but I
The
love
theater
it.
was featured in Logic's music video. Um,
Yeah, yep,
were
yeah.
you there when they recorded the parts
I was in
there?
the video.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, yeah. No, he's a great guy, and he came, and I find it really, weird when people come up to me and they say, "Hey, you're so and so," or I still don't. I'm not used to that because I don't consider myself any kind of celebrity or have any kind of fame or anything. I'm just a regular dude. But he walked up to me and he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "It's a pleasure meeting you. I'm a big fan." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "You're Rick Darris, man." He goes, "This is awesome. You're going to be in my video and this and that." I'm like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Thanks for doing this." I'm like, "Thank you, dude. Thank you for doing this." I mean, this brings us a lot more light to clerks and to keep our thing going and shining a light on the theater and things like that. I mean, he was just wonderful, great guy. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then Kevin's next movie, 4:30 movie.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. So the 4:30 movie, uh I make a small cameo in it, which is all. I was fine with that because Kevin bumped me up to executive producer on that one, which was very nice. um I had a blast doing that because that movie's based on our childhood and going to the movie theater and the shenanigans that went around that, sneaking into the movie theaters as tons of us have done growing up. The girls in the movie theater, the dealings with the managers and getting yelled at and getting thrown out and uh, and we filmed it and it's based in 1986. I think it's 86. Yeah. It just, there was I had a hard time filming every day, watching the scenes, and him telling me, "Oh, we're going to do this. So I'm changing that. We're going to add this." And I'd say something to him because me and him lived it. So I was like, "Oh, you didn't add that? What about this or this word? Or did you say that?" He goes, "Oh shit, that's right. We got to throw that in there. Let's do it." Because it just, it was so nuts. And there was moments watching certain scenes because, me, as people will see in the film, there was a couple there was some moments that me and Kevin didn't get along for as kids, and that happens with everybody. But we're like brothers, so you always have a little fight here and there. And there was a scene in the movie and it just, I had to walk away from it. I was like, God, dude, what are you doing to me? I was like, this is just ripping my heart out. He just, the way he writes and the way he brings this stuff to life is just amazing. And I think it's one of his best pieces. And I think everybody's going to be shocked at how good it is. And, it's nothing like what he's done before. It really isn't. But it highlights the theater, which is awesome. But it also highlights our youth and what we went through. But it's got that whole nostalgic thing behind it. And it's hopefully it, gets people to come back to old school movie theaters and, remembering what it used to be like to go to a theater, when you were kids. It's really cool. And hopefully he's telling me the end of the summer sometime it's going to be coming out. They don't want to rush it. They really want to massage it and do it the right way. They're working on the music right now. which he sent me some clips of the music a few weeks ago. And I was like pretty blown away because they're nailing that whole '80s vibe, to get you in the mood, and it's gonna be something special. And the kids that play us are amazing. I mean, the actors he found are just unreal. They're just so good. They knocked it out of the park. I mean, the guy who plays me I break his balls every day on set, and just to, and not to tell him how to play me because I didn't want to do that. It's just that it was, kind of indirectly giving him my, my essence or my vibe of kind of how I am, and let him take it and twist it and do what he wants with it on screen. And this guy Nick did a fantastic job. They all did. I mean, it's just I can't wait for people to see it. We'll premiere it at the theater. Nice big event. Hopefully, it's the big premiere, big I will say Hollywood premiere in New Jersey, which would be nice. But that's all up to the studio. And you better give me a good review.
Oh, you know it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not promising anything,
I'll hunt you
but
down.
we'll come back here after the movie comes out and
Yes.
we'll talk about
it. We can take criticism. Trust me, don't worry. So I'm looking back there. Is that Val Kilmer?
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp?
Yeah. Oh,
One of my
says, I'm your Huckleberry. Say when. One of my favorite scenes.
Here, I got something for you.
Ah, well, that is so cool. Yeah.
That's directly from Val himself.
That's awesome.
We had the luxury.
When Val Kilmer came to Wise Guys, he brought his Mark Twain show to Wise Guys, the comedy club I worked for. I got to meet him, but he gave some art to the club that's hanging up there. So yeah,
he is a sweetheart. I gotta say that he's such a nice guy. And seeing that scene in Maverick just breaks your heart.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Well, do me a favor and play Tombstone like the first week in December when I'm out there so I can come to your theater.
Oh, yes.
I'll be out there for New York Comic Con, so I usually try and roam around to the Jersey side. So
yeah, I mean that is one of my if that movie is on TV or anywhere, if I see it, I have to watch it.
Same. But I mean that moment he walks out of that shadow. I just and he's like, say when, like just the quietest.
Yeah.
It's not yelling. There's no explosions. It's just say when.
It's so good, man.
So good.
I need to rewatch it.
Oh, yes. Come on. I actually did a movie with him. I was just doing some stand-in work on Pollock, the Ed Harris movie. And he was in that movie. I was sitting outside with him. And I don't know if he must have been having a bad day. But I was sitting next to him, and sometimes you get a little intimidated to talk to these celebrities and you try not to overstep the bounds, but we're all sitting together and bullshitting and having a conversation. And I made the statement. I was like, hey man, I got to say Tombstone is probably my favorite Western of all time. I mean, I just love it. I said it, I'm just, maybe I shouldn't have said it, but I was like, just shocked you didn't get an Oscar nod for that. I mean, your portrayal of Doc
and
Holliday
he's like,
was amazing. I mean, it was just so good. I mean, the quotes and just the way you just a brilliant performance. And he just looked at me and got up and walked away. Yeah.
I mean, everybody has a day, but maybe he was trying to stay in character. I don't know.
I don't know. And I felt so bad. And I was sitting next to on the other side of me was John Hurd. And I turned to him and I was like, did I just fuck up? Did I just say something I wasn't supposed to say? He goes, oh no, he's just, he's having a bad day. He's fine. I was like, okay. But yeah, brilliant movie.
Not to get too off topic because I'm a huge fan of Westerns, but this one, The Harder They Fall, if you haven't seen it,
The
it's one of
Harder
my
They
favorite.
Fall.
Yeah, it's a Netflix movie that came out in theaters for a little bit.
Okay.
And Idris Elba is the bad guy.
Ah, yes. Yes.
It
Star.
is, yes. And seeing it in the theater because they had to put it in theater for a little bit so that it could be nominated
Right.
before it went to Netflix. And to see the coloring of that film is one of my favorite things. It's like its own character. And to
Mm.
see it in the theater was so cool. And I watch that on Netflix too all the time. It's like that, Tombstone, Endgame, all those things I can watch over and over.
Yeah, and Rocky. I see you,
And
Rocky.
Rocky. And I have got Creed gloves around here somewhere. I'm a huge Creed fan. So
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
the
Second one's
second one
okay.
is my favorite. The
Is
second
it?
one, man, the fight, the training scene in the second movie. Come on.
Yeah.
The third one, but
Eh,
the second one's my favorite.
yeah, they screwed Stallone. They, they did. How could you not address Balboa in the third one?
He didn't
I
want to be
mean,
involved. He didn't want to
I
be
know,
involved in it. Yeah.
but there was nothing. There was
Yeah.
nothing. Not even a phone call, a letter, anything. It's just like, come on, man. Wouldn't exist without
Even
him.
even I miss my unc, something,
Yeah,
just
nothing.
a little nod.
Yeah, little something, something, something. But I
It
saw
was
they did that.
probably in a contract, like the Taylor
Yeah,
Swift one. It was probably in the contract.
exactly, exactly right. Yeah, that's cool.
Well,
Wow.
well, it's like in Avengers, you have Robert Downey Jr. and what's his name, who both played Sherlock. Nobody said no shit,
Yeah,
Sherlock.
yeah,
That's just
yeah,
sitting there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of that. I think it's because we all expected it and then they didn't say it, and so we all had a reaction, which I kind of love when a filmmaker and the actors kind of know, like, we're going to be head to head, both Sherlocks here, right, on screen together,
Mm,
and we're going to have this moment, and we can either do what the audience thinks and or wants us to do, or we cannot do it, which then causes another reaction, which kind of, uplifts the rise in them to keep going in the film. So, I mean, I'm glad they didn't say it because we remember more that they didn't say it than if they would
right.
have. I think that's just my opinion.
That's
But we
true.
did get the Gamora. Why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
All right, yeah,
Oh,
I think we got a little off track there. Um,
you
so
invited me. I'm sorry. You know how I
no, it's
roll.
all right. I know how you roll. But we had Ashley on the podcast before about uh Lilu Multiprops.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
Um, so she's part owner. Does she do any running around and help with programming or any ideas in that way?
Um, she deals a lot with like paying the studios, uh, dealing with those guys, getting their percentages correct. She also brings certain programming to the theater because of the business that she's in. With the props and the private signings that she does with the celebrities. She's always trying to work those angles to get those people to come to the theater and tie it in if we could with her business. Do a signing with them and then also do a show at the theater, which is a good creative way of doing things. She's always coming up with ideas. The problem is, and it's not her fault at all, it's just the dealing with certain celebrities and trying to get them to come to a small theater like ours, the amount of money that some of these guys want, kind of ridiculous. I mean, we have a 230 seater. We can't really sell um, the ticket for too much money. I mean, if we have a $50 or $60 ticket, if we do one show, we're barely covering our costs to pay for that celebrity. And sometimes we can't even cover our costs, so then we can't make the deal. So she's brought a lot to the table, but some of the stuff just hasn't panned out because we just honestly can't afford the higher end celebrities to come in. That's why having Kevin in place, bringing these guys in, is wonderful. I mean, we got George R.R. Martin in there that Kevin brought in, and he brokered a deal with him. Kevin's doing something for him. George did something for us. So
Nice.
it's same thing. Yeah, same thing with the Russo brothers. You know, you work these things out together because they love cinema and they want to, you know, get out there and engage with the fans. But to straight up get a celebrity just to come, it's tough sometimes, you know. I mean, you see them, a lot of them are on the road doing shows and things. But if you look at the ticket, I mean, I think, what was it? I had asked him about Quentin once. I was like, hey, I see Quentin's doing a mini tour about his book, and he was coming to New York. And I was like, you think maybe reach out and see if we could get Quentin? Because there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way he won't come. You know, because we can't afford him. And that's the case in most things. It's tough. But if they love it enough, they'll come. What was that? Is that my dog? Oh, sorry, or my dog. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, they really got to love what we're doing to knock their price down. And I listen again. I don't expect them to do it for free. That's not what I'm saying. But we try to negotiate and work with what we can with what we have until we get to a point where we have enough where we can say, hey, we can give you $20,000 or $50,000 to come here and for a couple hours, and do your
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah, I don't think fans understand that celebrities have guarantees, right?
Yes.
I'm at conventions all the time, and people are
Right.
like, "Why is this autograph so expensive?" Well, because if this is their job, they're coming
Right.
here and they want to get paid, and their guarantee is this. And if they don't make their guarantee, then the convention or the business owner has to make
Right.
up for the rest. And I don't think people quite understand it because they're celebrities, right? And they're like, they should
Right.
just want to come. No, this is their job. I'm not
Yeah.
asking you to come in to work for free today, you know?
Right. It's a business. This is a
Yeah, whether
business.
it's
I mean,
a trade, and it's, I'll scratch your back, whatever, but there needs to be, some kind of thing, unless you said like they really, are into it and they
right.
just, some I'm not saying people aren't that way, but again, if they're, they got to make money, got to pay their bills.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
and even the people that are into it, they still have to make some money. I mean, there's
Yeah.
travel, there's food. I mean, they're leaving their home for a couple days. I mean, they could be working somewhere else. I mean, you got to
Mhm.
compensate them for something. I mean,
Yeah.
I totally get it, and I have no problem with it. It's just we just have to navigate who we can
Yeah.
get now.
Yeah. Oh, I know
And
you get it. I'm just saying, like, the ticket to come see him,
oh yeah,
it's got to
they don't
be,
get it.
yeah, fans don't get it.
No, that they don't, and we keep our stuff pretty reasonable. I mean, if you've
Yeah.
seen our events, we keep them pretty cheap. We try to so people can enjoy it and see what we're trying to do here. I mean, we've only had the theater for what, a year and a half, I think now.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah, and we've done some pretty cool stuff. So we'll get there. You know, we'll get bigger and bigger, but we'll never outprice ourselves. It's just I don't see that happening. I don't see us ever doing like a $100 ticket or $150 ticket to have some celebrity come in. I don't know if people would pay that. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I do know that I remember at New York Comic Con when I was there one year, Stallone was charging $350 for an autograph. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. But I get it. I mean,
Maybe try your Snyder fans. They might pay $100 to get in.
yeah, yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, but we try to keep it pretty simple and basic, and
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, we're not too greedy.
Well, and I
But
think that's the charm of a smaller theater, right? Is
yeah,
that you've got the ability to keep it that way, and I think people respect that. So,
yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's not, I didn't get into this to become rich or to make tons of money. I mean, this is, for me and Kevin, this is like a passion project. I
Mhm.
mean, do I have to pay my bills? Of course. Does Kevin have to pay his bills? Of course. I mean, everybody has their nut to cover, right? Um, but we also don't want to take advantage of people. That's not what it's about. It's trying to put really cool shit out there, and then everybody having fun. Because, that's what it's all about. I mean, as Kevin says to me when he's doing a project, he calls and he says, "Hey, you want to come play?" And when he says you want to come play to me, that means, oh, we're gonna, you want to be in a movie, you want to do something, And I don't even ask what it is. I don't care if it's one line or 10 lines or just a count. I don't care. The best is the fact that you're getting to do something really cool that you love and enjoy. That's the gratitude, you know.
Mhm.
And it's I think a lot of people miss that uh,
Mhm.
in life. It's you got to seize those moments. And
Mhm.
again, what we're trying to build at the theater is those are moments that, I mean, we have a lot of families with their kids. I mean, fathers and sons and fathers and daughters or mothers and daughters come to the theater and they're like, yes, I'm bringing my kid here to experience this for the first time. And that's the stuff that's great. I mean, and they love it. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. We had a guy come in for Clerks Up All Night. He did the all-nighter, never saw any of the Clerks ever. Never. He's like, this is my first
He-
time experience any of this. He did the all-nighter. And Kevin would talk to him after every movie. And at the end, he made sure he talked to him again, during the Q&As. And the kid was just loving it. He thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah,
So
when I talked to
those are the
Brian
things.
last week, he mentioned that too.
Yeah, it's those moments, man, that make us keep going and keep wanting to do more stuff. That's why after we did that up all night, he's like, I want to do this birthday thing. And I was like, okay, an all day or an all nighter. And he's like, yeah, let's do it again. I was like, oh my God, you're killing me. I was like, I'm in my 50s, dude. I'm not in my 20s no more.
And then Vulgarthon's all of the View movies.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That's gonna be that starts at 9 a.m. and that's gonna end around 2 in the morning. And then now that we added a second show, that's gonna start at 10 a.m. and probably end at 3 in the morning. So I'll be going from 7 in the morning till 5 in the morning. Then I'll go home. Yeah.
Get some
Which
naps
is
in.
I tried like during Clerks Up All Night. I said to him, I said, I'm gonna take some naps between these while these movies are playing, and I can't because while they're playing, me and him start bullshitting. We're like two little. And it's just like you start talking movies and you start talking this and all this kind of crap, and you know, it just yeah, you never sleep. It just you just suck it up and deal with it the days after. I'm like a zombie the next couple of days, you know. But it's all worth it, Why not? It's fun.
So if somebody's in town there, when is the theater open, and where can they see the listings?
So going to our website, smodcastlecinemas.com, is the best way to see everything that we got going on. We're open from Wednesday to Sunday. Mondays and Tuesdays are just they're dead. We tried it when we first took it over, and there was no traffic at all. So it didn't make sense to stay open. So we used to like during the summer we'll do Wednesday matinees, but in the winter it's just 4 o'clock on. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday uh, is our schedule. So Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays we open up at 3. Our first screening is at 4. And then on Saturdays and Sundays we open up at 12 and our first screening is at 1. That seems to be working for us right now during the lean months of the winter of what's going on. Um, and when it rains, it increases business a little bit. But if it's like frigid cold out, it's hard to get people to come out.
Mm.
The last week or two, it was really cold here in Jersey. And attendance was down pretty good, but thank God we had a really good weekend with Clerks Up All Night, and then we did Batman Returns also that
Oh,
weekend.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, we had 165 people for Batman Returns,
Nice.
which is awesome. Yeah, watching that again on the big screen is just incredible.
So
It's
good.
just so good. Oh my God, Keaton is the man. Love it. But yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much our program, unless we have some sort of special screening. We just added a few things today on our schedule, and I got a bunch of other stuff I got to work out with him, and when he's coming into town, when I can get back up on the schedule. But we got some cool events. We want to do a Jay and Bob type event. We're not sure how we're going to do it yet, but something to do with Jay and Kevin with the fans. We want to do something like that. There's talks of trying to bring in some of the other View Askew alumni. Maybe, I mean, we want to bring Joey Lauren Adams back. Jason Lee wants to come back. Obviously, Justin Long, he wants to come back. Q from Impractical Jokers, he wants to get back into the theater because we did his screening of his movie, so he'd like to come back. So it all comes down to scheduling. So a lot of times it'll be a last minute thing. We'll put the schedule up 2 weeks before the show, and it does very well. And the fans and the general public pretty much monitors the website. So as soon as it goes up, they like start buying tickets because they know what Kevin's schedule's like. And if we get somebody, we have a small window, so we'll book it and then put it up, and it usually does really well. Again, like I said before, I was surprisingly shocked that Vulgarthon sold out that quick. Especially August 3rd, it's way in advance, and it's already sold out. So by us, adding on a second theater is, I think, the right way to go, and I bet you we'll sell that out too. It's
Fill
a
all
long
five.
stretch, huh?
Fill all five.
That's what he wants to do. He's like, "Hi, you think we could get all five?" I'm like, "Oh my God." I don't know, bud. I mean, I'd love to get all five, but I've never seen that theater, even as a kid, where every theater was full. I mean, if we could pull that off at some stage, that'd be amazing. I mean, when we had the first film festival, uh, we had a lot of people in there for the first film festival, which was good. Which I had a hard time navigating all those people, so I cut the programming down. My first year, I did 150 films. Everybody says you're nuts doing 150 films in that small theater. And we pulled it off, but I realized after that the volume of people being in there was a little tough. So now I have it down to 100 films. And this year last October we did 100 films. It was a lot easier. So we'll do that again. I think the date I'm looking at is October 18th. Yeah, the week after Chronicon. We'll do the film festival again. But then I'm also toying with the idea of doing a 37-hour film festival. The one-day event. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
So
in a row.
Yeah, in a row. It would be a one-day event where the concept, the movie can't be under. It has to be under 4 minutes and 30 seconds, a la the 4:30 movie. And we will give you in most 24-hour, 48-hour film festivals, we'll give you a subject,
Yeah.
and you have 37 hours to do it.
Yeah.
So,
I have done those a couple of times. I did not make
yeah.
good. My movies were awful. We're just going to pretend that those never happened.
No,
But they're
but you know what?
fun. They're fun, and
It's
they get the community together, and it's
right.
just
It's
yeah.
fun. It's a one-day thing. It's not like the festival we do for 3-4 days. It's one day in and out. I'll pick a certain amount of films. And then what I'm thinking of doing is, as far as a prize, instead of it being a monetary or a trophy, that their short, gets to play in the actual movie theater before a film, which I
Nice.
think's a big deal for a filmmaker.
Yeah.
and then the potential we may even throw it on Kevin's YouTube channel and run it there, which
Nice.
which he has millions of, and I think to the average independent filmmaker, that's more than saying, "Hey, here's a $500 check."
Yeah,
I think that's a bigger deal doing that, because then you're going to get more eyes on it, and people are going to see your work.
I agree.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so we're thinking of doing that. We're pulling that together in the next week, and if that happens, I'll pull the trigger on that one. But anything we can do, any kind of fun stuff that that people want to do, we're open to doing anything. We embrace all independent movies, doing premieres there, renting the theater to everybody, and show their film there, have their families come in. We normally charge, like, for an independent filmmaker, if they want to rent the theater, it's $300, and then we do a 50-50 split on the tickets, which I think is a great deal. Or if they want to rent the theater straight up, then that changes. I mean, it's the smaller theaters would be 600 straight up, and then the big theater, which holds 230, would be, I think it's 750. But even those are still cheap numbers compared to if you went to AMC or Cinemark, where they charge a boatload
Yeah.
to do stuff like that. But again, it's all about creating a community and getting people in the theater, and let them know what we're doing there, and have them come in and see the movies. We'll get there. It's good. When are you going to come down?
Dylan, I feel like we need to do a road trip and do a live podcast from
Oh,
like
totally.
the theater when he decides to show any of the movies on this wall.
Tombstone.
Any
you
of them,
go.
but yeah, Tombstone would be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll visit the stash and the quick stop, and we'll make a whole Jersey tour of it.
Yeah, I noticed just the other day, I found it funny because when I was at the Quick Stop, or when I was building the original Smod Castle next to the Quick Stop in Leonardo, I really started to notice how many people per day come to the Quick Stop to take pictures in front of it. And I was like, these people are crazy. There's every day, there's just people coming and taking pictures. Now I'm starting to notice people are coming in front of the theater to take pictures.
Yeah. I mean, movies,
Yeah.
they mean something to people, and characters mean something to people. Last
Yeah.
year, I was in Boston again for work, and I made sure to go sit on the bench,
Oh,
and I had to wait because I was trying to be sly, but there's other people, that want to go sit on the bench, and I had been waiting to sit on this bench for years. And
yeah.
I went and I found the bench and I sat on it, and I felt like I had to think deep thoughts and everything. And I got a picture of the bench and, a picture of
Sweet.
the view from the bench, the water, the over shoulder shot. And,
Awesome.
movies and characters, they mean something. And so for people to be able to go to place where, they watch your movies over and over and over, and they quote them with each other, and, they remember where they were when they first saw it. Movies are
Oh, yeah.
so to be able to go in front of something that represents something in their life is people do it. They search for it. That's cool. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's a destination, which is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. And they
Yeah.
come from all over the world. It's crazy where they come. I mean, it shocks me every time we have a show and people say where they're from, and where, how far they've traveled just to come to the theater to see Kevin. It's pretty incredible. Good stuff. So you all got to come to
Awesome.
Smart Castle Cinemas,
Yes,
please.
totally.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll be out there for
Yes.
Tombstone.
There you go. Yeah.
Last time you're on, we asked you some bonus questions. It's been 4 years, so I'm going to re-ask them to see if the answers have evolved at all. And I did answer add an additional question as well. The first question is, what does creativity mean to you?
Creativity. What does it mean to you? It's one word: freedom. Creative people should have the freedom to create what they want. I mean, I've seen in some instances people are They're trying to restrict people from expressing themselves properly, which, I mean, obviously if it's really, really like, bad stuff, I get that. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm saying true artists that want to create and express themselves should not be denied a platform to do what they want to do. There's just too much like I'm not I don't like politics, but I'll use the word there's too much politics sometimes in the movie industry. That's I'd like people just to create, because if you watch everything that's out there now, it's just recycling a lot of the same old stuff over and over and over. And then occasionally you'll see this beautiful piece of art come out by just letting somebody express themselves and people discover it. I mean, that's what you need more of, because otherwise the movie industry is going to go to shit. I mean, it's just let people, do what they want. I mean, within reason. Obviously, everything's got to be within reason and within the law, things like that. But I just, yeah, being creative. The main thing to that is, the freedom to do what you want, to be able to make what you want.
Love it. Yeah, that's good. The next question is, who's your favorite Muppet and why?
Shit. Well, I'm named after a Muppet. You would think it would be Ernie, but I'd have to say Animal is probably my favorite Muppet. Yeah.
Nice. And then in the movie of your life, who would play you and what genre?
Wow. Well, I would love to say it would be an action movie of some sort, or some kung fu type movie, because I love like kung fu movies. I grew up on kung fu theater and stuff, and all that stuff's really cool, but I don't know if I would be believable as that. Um, if I was, let's see, I mean, somebody to play me currently would either be, hmm, I like Chris Evans. I could see him playing me at that my age, even though I'm older than him right now, but I could see Chris Evans probably, or maybe Chris Pine also. Everybody used to say I kind of resembled, which I never saw, Christian Slater or Tom Cruise back when I was younger,
I
but
literally was just gonna say
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see Christy.
If Christian Slater and Tom Cruise had a baby, it would be
right.
you. Like I've been looking, I am obsessed with noses, and you have Tom Cruise's nose, but then you have like Christian Slater's like jaw and mouth. I haven't been like stalking staring at you, but a little bit like the whole time. I was gonna say it and then you said it and I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy.
I've been getting it my whole life. My whole life I've been getting it. And when I used to audition years when I was younger, I got turned down a bunch because of that. Because they're like, "Oh, you look like Cruz too much," or "You got that look, and we looking for something different." I'm like, "Oh, I don't see it." But I mean, it was so much where I auditioned for Vanilla Sky just to do stand-in work for Tom, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of people. They're trying to get that job, because apparently when you get it, you work very closely with Tom on the film, and you really have to learn the character, and he just really embraces you on it. So it's a pretty big deal. So it was down to me and another guy, came down to the two of us. And when I had an interview with the director and everything and stuff like that, and it came down, I was too tall. Pretty
Oh,
much. They're like, "Oh, you got the look, you got this," and they're like, "Oh, you're just a little too tall." And the other guy was a surfer dude with long blonde hair and stuff like that, but he had more of a build and was more of his height, so he got it. But yeah,
You were
yeah,
one apple box too tall.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
but
What
Jason
else?
Lee got in there.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
I saw Jason Lee last year at a convention and it was during the strike, so nobody could talk about any movie or TV show. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna peek into his panel and see what he's talking about. And
Right.
all he talked about for 45 minutes was how much he loved skateboarding. And when he got
Oh,
into
awesome.
skateboard, like they just talked about skateboarding the whole.
You say Jason Lee is one of the nicest guys. I mean, he's just a sweetheart, man. When he comes to the theater, he is just the greatest. I mean, you can't ask for any better. Just a
Yeah, ever
cool dude.
since Mallrats and My Name is Earl, it's like that dude is awesome. And in Dogma, just how evil he gets in that.
Oh, he's just so cool. And he wants to bring back the guys from My Name is Earl, Ethan and I guess the creator of My Name is Earl. I can't remember his name right now, but he wants to bring a bunch of those cats back to the theater next time when he does something.
Well, if uh, I noticed you're on the agency site ZSC, so for conventions, if
Oh, yeah,
too busy for conventions or
yeah.
like no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I jumped on that a couple of years ago when she first started it with the Clerks crew, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Uh, Not knowing that once I got involved with the original Smodcastle in Leonardo, that my weekends were just, I wasn't going to let Kevin down. I was like, if I'm going to commit to something, I'm going to commit to it. And I just didn't have the time to really go into it and do it as like I wanted to. Just, I mean, as much as I would love to do it, I just can't. I mean, unless Kevin specifically says to me, "Hey, Aaron, I need you to come to this," then I would go. But I'd rather put my energy into building what we're trying to do here
Yeah,
because I think that's more important. Not that I'm saying it's not important to go out and see everybody, um, but they come to the theater anyway, and they can engage with me right there. I mean, I'm very accessible when I see everybody, and they're very nice. And I'll stop and take pictures or sign stuff when I can. But I'm pretty much running around like a chicken doing all these things. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing against the circuit. It just didn't seem to pan out and work out for me with that. But we'll see. I mean, maybe I'll do the one at Chronicon. I don't know. But again, that's right before the film festival, so I don't even know if I'll have time to do that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a busy couple weeks before the festival.
Last time we talked, you had one film under your belt. Do you have any other movies in the works or
4 years ago. Well,
what was
four
it
years
called?
ago.
I can't think of.
Well, I had 100 Acres of Hell. I did. That's the horror movie I did.
Yeah.
And then I did my own short, The Seventh Day. Uh, then I did with my buddy Troy. I did he like On Our Own. It's like this little sitcom-y thing he has on YouTube and Tubi called On Our Own. I did that. That was fun. I did that with him. Um, I also did Gone for the Weekend. I made a cameo and produced with him with Troy Burbank. And Wasted Blind is something I did. It's a 30-minute short. It was my first attempt at doing a real dramatic role. I play a drunk and an asshole father. So I produced and starred in that with him, and I think that's coming to Tubi in the next couple months. And then I also just shot a horror movie with him called What Lives Here, right in Atlantic Highlands. And that was pretty fun. That was at the Strauss House. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Strauss House, this legendary haunted house in Atlantic Highlands where they filmed, I think it's the movie in the 70s, Don't Go in the House,
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, those are the kind of things I've been messing around with. And, you know, whenever friends of mine that are trying to get off the ground and do little films and stuff, if they need help, try to help, you know, producing and stuff for them, or the union stuff obviously can be a little complicated. Uh, so I try to help out with those things and get them whenever they can. Because I wish I had that when I was younger, somebody to say yes and to help me navigate through some of the the crap of making a movie, because it can be a little overwhelming sometimes. I don't know everything, but I know enough to get them there and to help out and tell them not to do certain things.
Well, we need more people like you in situations like that, running movie theaters passionately, and
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
so everybody out to your local theaters, get to New Jersey.
Yes,
Visit.
please.
Well, thanks,
Yeah.
Ernie, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's always nice to have a platform to talk movies, and especially to talk about Smart Castle Cinemas. It's just, it's good. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Valerie, for joining us. You added so much to this conversation.
I took you off the rails so many times
Oh.
today.
That's all right. She's a doll. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's what Italians do. We distract you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's been bred out of me. I got the last name, but not much else.
Yeah,
Well, thank you guys.
good.
Have a wonderful
you.
evening. Go get some rest. Wednesday will be here soon.
Yeah, that's true. It will be.
Thanks, Dylan.
Fun though.
Nice to meet you, Ernie.
You too. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for your insight and your passion for the arts. Thank you.
I'm heading your way this year. You'll see me.
Yes, hit me up. Let me know. I'll give
Tombstone
you
or
a
not,
free
she'll be there.
popcorn. That's right. All right, guys. Thanks
Right.
again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Peace
Bye.
out.